Ladies and gents, welcome back to the Player Zone YouTube channel. Welcome to this video here where we're talking about Chelsea and is their method of badness finally going to work? We've questioned it. I think I've done 2 videos already on it and under the Bowley system and how I thought it was just stupid and didn't encourage winning and show to build a squad and a winning mindset. We look at this squad this season in the second place at the point of recording this video. The players they've brought in are performing and it looks like they've finally got a manager that can keep in charge of all these players here. You know, they spent 800 million euros across the last 3 seasons. It felt like it was just money going down the drain. The squad was getting thick, deeper and deeper, and struggled to find a starting 11 out of all those players. A squad of up to 44 or 45, I believe, coming into the start of the season. But it has dwindled down. They've cut the squad down to 30 players, which I think is actually manageable. That's a healthy number. Especially with the amount of injuries in the modern footballing world at this current point in time. But the big stat about the squad is it's at an average age of 24 years of age. They have absolutely prepped for the future. We talked about this a lot when they started to buy these players, younger players, pre-contract signings. It was a lot of 18, 19, 20-year-olds they were bringing in with a hope that this would be happening as we're seeing now. A young squad that can develop together, can grow together, and potentially start winning together. Sitting second in the Premier League. We're talking about their chances of winning the title. Obviously, they're going to coast the Conference League. It just depends who they face in the knockout stages. They've got that, or also potentially an FA Cup to go and chase after as well. And they've got a manager now that can absolutely get the most out of these players here. Look at some of the 23-year-olds who are 23-year-old and younger. You got the likes of Colwill, Fofana, Malo Gusto, Moises Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, Lavia, Cole Palmer, Madueke, Nicholas Jackson. They're all starters probably as well. They're all 23 years old or younger. So it is a squad that is set for now, but also set for the future. And it's a squad that if you can keep them all under these long contracts, you've got a squad that will last for a very, very long period of time. It's good for a building squad. Question marks about if it doesn't quite work, if you need to get a few players in and out. How does that work then because of these big contracts? But at the current point in time, it makes sense. You're building this squad all together. The odd loose ends can be cut away. But all in all, you've got a squad that's young, that can develop together, that can grow together. And if they stay content and they keep winning, a squad that will be together for a long period of time, which is a real positive for Chelsea because it's felt like a little bit of time now since they really competed at the top and really competed consistently for those titles there. The odd title here and there with Conte and Sarri, a good season, a bad season. But ever since that mini period, it's been very, very grim, slim pickings. Thomas Tuchel obviously won the Champions League, but league form, very, very hard to find in an era dominated by Manchester City. Tuchel won that Champions League. Sarri and Conte won those Premier League titles, but outside of that, hasn't felt the same since that's a Jose Ancelotti earlier days in the early 2000s period there. But this squad has that identity building. I looked at, looking back at some of the players and how they were playing last season, all wasn't working. In particular, midfield looked very unbalanced. I've been harsh on Enzo Fernandez a lot at the start of this season and into last season, but he's turned it around. And I think that goes down to the manager call. I think that was one of the boldest calls coming to the season. When we look back at it, not much actually happened in the end in terms of transfer news and manager movements, but a big manager call was Chelsea getting rid of Mauricio Pochettino, who I thought was doing a fantastic job in what seemed a destined for doom type job. I never felt like this job would ever be successful. But Enzo Maresca's come in after fantastic work under Pep Guardiola, then with Leicester City last season in the Championship, dominating the Championship for large periods of times. But the question marks were, could he do it in the Premier League? Could he do it competing in some of the bigger clubs in world football? Because he had a Premier League side in the Championship last season. This year, he's going to have a disjointed Chelsea side in the top division of the Premier League, one of the most competitive leagues in world football. And what he did instantly was he, excluded some players, he cut some players out. Said, you're not going to be a part of my squad. Some experienced players like Colwill, Chilwell, and Romelu Lukaku, and other names also got thrown out there. Like I said, Conor Gallagher got cut away. They eventually got sold for decent money, so money was brought into the club. Squad was cut down to 30, and his key players were chosen. He made a statement early on. He was going to play his certain style of football, his possession-based style of football, and he was going to stick by that, despite a disappointing opening day where Man City just dominated them off the park. He stuck to his guns. He stuck to that idea that he wanted Caicedo in that midfield alongside Enzo Fernandez, and they wanted them to dominate the possession battle. He wanted Chelsea on the front foot, pressing hard the pitch with a higher defensive line, throwing more numbers forward and committing to that attacking style of football. And it is showing. A little bit of change with now Caicedo playing right back at times, inverting into midfield, overloading the midfield areas, but allows that attacking possession-based style of football to be reinforced. You now got Cole Palmer, Enzo Fernandez as almost two number 10s in a box midfield with Lavia and Caicedo as the two deeper lying players. They utilised that versus Tottenham Hotspur last time out. And I'm recording this video and they just pressed them to hell. He didn't allow Tottenham out after a very slow start. They got going into the second half and eventually it just became overwhelming for Tottenham to handle. And teams that can't deal with presses, teams that can't dispossess this Chelsea side are going to find it very, very difficult to play this side because once they win possession back, they don't often lose it. They've got really strong players in possession like Caicedo and like Lavia in the deep line positions that win the ball back but then also capable on the ball to set things up for Chelsea. Then you've got one of the most informed, probably the top three players in the Premier League with Cole Palmer in behind an informed Nicholas Jackson. You've got players out wide, João Felix, Noni Madueke, Jadon Sancho, Neto. They're all super dangerous, direct runners, and they can create chances, left foot, right foot, and score goals. So Maresca's gone in, he stamped his authority, he cut players out, he played his style of football. He wasn't going to deal with rubbish, and that standard was set early on, and it's continued on from the season. It's been a remarkable sort of adjustment period. Yes, their squad is super talented. That's why it's almost getting underplayed what they're doing here, Chelsea. But what Maresca's done is just phenomenal. I don't think anyone thought he'd be doing what he's doing with this Chelsea side. Second best team away from home in the Premier League. Super strong on the road. They don't often lose games of football. They're dominating the Conference League. Dealt with this whole A team, B team that he's gone with, and I like it. Again, another rogue call, another bold statement. He was going to play an A team in the Premier League. I think Cole Palmer and a few others aren't even registered for the Conference League. So there's a definite B team for the Conference League, at least for the group stage period of time. And that's he's going to play his football. He's going to rest and rotate. He's going to keep his squad for the Premier League, his squad for the Conference League, and going to attack competitions like that. And so far, so good. It's worked so far for the side. So all the big decisions, the bold decisions that had to be made, he made them. And also what he's done as well is he's gained the best out of the players in his squad. Lavia injured a lot last season, but do we think he's going to come back as strong as he did this season? Absolutely not. Moses Caicedo is back at his best. Cole Palmer's still thriving in this side here, not having to be that solo carrier of this Chelsea side. Enzo Fernandez is the resurgence for me. He's been fantastic this season, especially in recent weeks. Got Nicholas Jackson scoring at a quick rate. Jadon Sancho's found his feet now at Chelsea as well. You've got all these players coming together very, very nicely. Defensively, they're very shaky still, but they're not conceding a lot of goals. It's a bit of a misconception because when you watch them, they look very, very shaky, but the amount of goals they're conceding is not a ridiculous amount. Obviously, last time out, Tottenham 4-3 is a bit of a blip there. It doesn't support my point, but all in all, they don't concede a lot for how shaky they look, so their defence is actually holding up okay, and that's another positive sign for them as well. I guess the stats to back this up. Enzo's last 6 games, as of recording this, is 3 goals, 6 assists. Cole Palmer's 11 goals, 6 assists in 15 Premier League games. Caicedo's averaging the average match rating of 7.3, 1 goal, 2 assists in the Premier League, 1.5 interceptions, 3 tackles, 5.5 ball recoveries per game. He's doing everything. So you sort of got your spine sorted there. Your midfield 3 or your 2 midfielders and a right back are all playing at Premier League team of the season level. So no wonder in second place in the Premier League. So it's been very, very clear to see what Enzo Maresca has implemented. It's working, the system, the young group they've built now through this monopoly-style transfer system where they bought a lot for a lot of money of young players. They're also going to come together nicely and they're going to build as a group. So that's a positive sign for Chelsea fans, for the ownership. Their investment's actually going to work out. It's a positive. I don't think it was going to work out, but fair play. They saw the vision, and it's happening right now. And on the back of making a big call of sacking Pochettino and getting in a manager like Maresca, who's just maximised every player in every area of the park so far for Chelsea this season. And to finish it up, sort of broken down to 3 things for me. Number 1 being the manager with the philosophy that suits his teams, his players, and is adjustable. This team is very strong on the ball, as I said. Caicedo inverting, overloading the midfield area, box midfield, very hard to dispossess, very good in possession as well. Getting on the front foot, Enzo and Palmer being further forward, being those attackers, being those creators, where Enzo thrives for me, where Palmer obviously thrives, getting the most out of players like Jackson up top, out of them getting the most out of players like Jadon Sancho up top, who are getting these goal involvements now and contributing to winning football. And acknowledging, he said in this press conference, we are not good defensively. We're just going to out-attack you. We're going to outscore you, out-possession you. So you're not going to have a chance to score on us because we're going to go and score goals on you. That's a real bold statement in press conferences, something you don't often see from a manager, but he knows his strengths and weaknesses, and he's playing to that with this squad here. He knows that Robert Sanchez, Colwill, Fofana, they're good on paper, but they haven't really put together this coherent defensive performance for a long period of time. Cucurella's in and out here and there, but he said, you know what, let's just go and attack. Let's go and score 3 or 4 a game, and it doesn't matter if we do concede 1 or 2. We're going to outscore the opposition, so we cannot lose games of football. And as such, because they're playing so attacking, because they're often on the ball, opposition can't score when they have possession of the football. And this, reimagined, reignited, rejuvenated midfield they've got here at Chelsea, with Enzo, Caicedo and Lavia all being back to their best, to being their valuation, which Chelsea bought them for, all of a sudden, they're just a giant. They're a beast that can't be defeated. So it's all working for Enzo Maresca. And I think, as I said, that key point of a manager with a clear philosophy, which is possession, attacking football, overloading midfield areas and committing numbers forward, that can adjust mid-game with that box midfield, sometimes the 3 in midfield, inverting the fullback or keeping them out wide, playing with width, playing narrow. A manager that's capable of in-game adjustments, a manager that can get the best of every player in the park. It's such a positive. The team in the Premier League that are succeeding at this current point in time have got managers that can adjust to make their players in their team great. That's what Enzo Maresca is. That's the first key for me. The second is their transfer strategy is finally showing. It's showing dividends. Buying on these younger talents. Ostracising like Gallagher, Tomori's, Lukaku's, the bigger players, the older players on higher wages that have performed in the past, Kai Havertz, Raheem Sterling, but then committing to the players of the future, Jadon Sancho, Pedro Neto, Caicedo, Lavia, Enzo, Cole, Jackson. It's showing because these are players that are actually performing, and the other players that are left, Conor Gallagher, Lukaku have been performing all right, but other than that, those other players that sort of got ostracised and left behind are really not good enough. They're not good enough for Chelsea in what they're doing this season. So the right call was made with this transfer strategy. Yes, it's ridiculous, and yes, they're going to potentially have some problems in the near future. But right now, those long extended contracts, the big wages that equal out over time, those big transfer fees for young players, taking a punt on these young players, it's going to work. Well, right now it's working. It's a really, really positive sign. So it seems to be the whole A team, B team thing is actually going to work out this season. So the transfer strategy, the big squad, the young players, it's working. And the final, I think the biggest point for me is why they're being so successful is the no stress environment. New manager, low expectations on the back of some really, really poor seasons. Poor result, a young squad. It's all led to what is a 0 expectation season. People have them 5th or 6th. That's super achievable for this Chelsea side. With the talent they've got there, now with the manager they've got there, that's so easily achievable. So they've sort of crept under the radar a little bit. Obviously now everyone's talking about them, but they've crept to a spot they're in 2nd place in the Premier League with not really hitting top gear yet. I think they're sort of sitting sort of an 8, 7 out of 10 at times of their best right now. They've got a lot of levels to climb, a lot more consistency to reach, but they're already 2nd. And we know City have fallen off, but we know that City have fallen off. We know that Arsenal have the ability to so easily fall off with just one player being injured. But Liverpool haven't had a tough time as of yet. So if Chelsea just continue to be 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 as the season goes on, continue to just get better and more consistent, and just stay with the pack, they might end up in a situation come the final 5 games, they're in a title race. And the way that Maresca's handling it, just keeping it to the side, 1 game at a time, with this young squad, there's little expectation, has this really no-stress, relaxed environment with little pressure on the side, is a positive. Because young players play the best when they can express themselves and there's no pressure on them. And that's just working right now. This concoction that's happened in Chelsea the last 3 or 4 years has worked so well for the next 2 years to be super successful. A couple of trophies, reinforce winning, reinforce the feeling of what it's going to take to be a top side. And then maybe in 2 years' time, after this season and the next, that 3rd season under Enzo Maresca, that's going to be super dangerous. You've got players in their prime, 26, 25 years old, been in the club a few years, know what it takes to win a few trophies. They're going to be a very dangerous team for the next 5, 6 years. So the Chelsea outlook, yes, it was clouded the last 2 seasons, and it was hard for me to understand what was going on, especially with the poor performances and constant managerial changes and the money situation. But all of a sudden, you don't need to sign anyone. Maybe a striker to come in. But all you need to do is just sell the odd players that aren't going to work in your system, that Maresca doesn't want. Maresca continues to play his style of football and find the players he wants. All of a sudden, we've got a very, very dangerous Chelsea side for 5, 6, even 10 years to come. Because of how young the squad is, the transfer strategy's actually worked, and you've got a manager that can operate this team. And it's looking super, super dangerous. Second, 31 points, 4 points off Liverpool. They are there to pounce if some team slips up this season. So super excited for Chelsea fans. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I've gone with my 3 points being a manager with a clear philosophy that suits his players, the transfer strategy actually working, and a no-stress environment being the 3 key reasons why there's been such great early success this season. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, guys, please sort of smash a like on it, subscribe to the Players Own channel for more videos and podcasts like these, and press your post notification bell to know we upload here on the channel. With that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the upcoming football over the festive period, and I'll see you guys in the video very, very soon. Till next time, guys. See you later.